Why deter her now?
Yes, this is actually nemesis catching up. History has a way of sometimes repeating itself. The souls that we talk have not let Indians sleep. 630 screens across this country have screened this film. And believe me, I have been in touch with most of the states and districts too to tell me reactions on what is happening from the theatre, from people coming out. There's tears in their eyes. And this is yet another renaissance of what they were trying to hide. Parties which call itself secular and nationalist have failed to protect the basic rights of all citizens. They call it exodus, but the reality was it was a genocide. How many of them were killed? And the following action of whichever part of the country they fled to. But you're right, the wheel of justice has started moving. Believe me, it won't be too long that we get hold of these criminals who are still afloat, and people who have been harbingers of this kind of crime will be exposed, however high and mighty they may be.
32 years of a free passage already. 32 years of a free passage already, Amit Raina. So let them. Why shouldn't they be given? And I am at the cost of sounding or breaking all barriers of decency and humanity, etc., and moral sciences, etc. I am saying treat those jokers the same way they decided to treat other people. They decided to treat innocents. Treat them the same way.
No, no, if the government of India is serious, or the judiciary system, there are enough provisions in the genocide law which will make them to be treated the same way. Even denying a genocide is a crime in itself, and it's one of the steps of genocide. Unfortunately, the political earlier there was a party which believed in appeasing a certain section of the community, and unfortunately, even in that section of the community, or the radical ones, the extremist ones, and we have seen it in multiple cases. Remember 2006, Bitta Karate gets bail in the so-called secular government, where the judge says that I know he's guilty, but the state doesn't seem to be keen to prosecute him. And then you have cases of Prime Minister inviting a person, forget him killing Kashmiri Pandits. I still can't believe Prime Minister invited a man for a cup of tea who was accused and has admitted of killing 4 Air Force officers. He has admitted of killing, and he calls he calls India an enemy. And you are having a cup of tea with him. So,
so is that the message?
I'm only saying. Subsequently, you had a political class which was shielding them. Now you have a system which is shielding them. The system now needs to get up, because now you have a political class which claims that I will not allow this jihad to make nonsense of this country. Appeasement of Wahhabis, appeasement of jihadis will not happen. Then you go and create a precedent. If you don't want Kashmir to happen in the rest of India, you will have to create deterrents, and those deterrents are justice. Those deterrents are quick action, punishing the people who are responsible for the genocides. Otherwise, you are allowing, you are saying and telling these people, oh, we will at the best condemn you. You can continue to create Kashmirs and rest of India.
No, and they have to have the fear of law, and the fear of the country, and the fear of the might of this country in their heart struck there. And if you think that you can get away by sawing open a woman after raping her, then you will be used. The same saw will be used on you. That fear has to be struck, Riju Datta. Is there a problem with that?
Absolutely not. And Anand, I want to say 3 points very clearly on your channel today. First, Kashmir is and always will be an integral part of India, that is Bharat. No doubt about it, number one. Number two, we completely condemn the mass exodus of Kashmiri Pandits during the 1990s from the valley. They deserve justice, and there is no two ways about it. Third, every person who is involved in this mass murder or ethnic cleansing or whatever you call it is a terrorist and they do not belong to any religion. It is a terrorist. As a terrorist, they do not have a religion. But my problems, and I am going to ask some sharp questions here. To me, the endurance of India's democratic and constitutional order is far more important than a political party's propaganda. For that matter, BJP. Like we are talking here, 30 years. Now, they have not received justice. A lot of governments came and a lot of governments went. Why a movie was made and suddenly everybody's heart started bleeding? What was this current regime doing for the last 7 years? After you removed the Article 370, why didn't you take steps to relocate the Kashmiri Pandits? Why not? Now you are using a particular movie to propagate your narrative going into 2024 elections. It is a planned conspiracy.
So you're making it that this is a propaganda and the BJP is using this movie as a propaganda. You're timing it so that it works your propaganda. It's a serious charge that you're making. Tom Vadakkan, respond.
Yes.
Well, we don't need films to do propaganda for us. We are competent at the ground level to put our ideology, to bring our ideology to the public. It may be your government that needs films or other things to try and propagate. We do not need it. We have our agenda, we have our purpose, and we have our people on the ground. So films come and films go. But if this has opened the eyes of India, believe me, this is the third eye of the Almighty that's opened up. Believe me, this is not about propaganda. This is about nemesis catching up. And believe me, whoever is involved will stand exposed.
Riju Datta wants to counter you.
You may call them terrorists,
Yes.
but justice is not being done. And justice will be done.
Mr. Vadakkan, I want to ask you some very pointed questions. A couple of years back, there was another movie on exactly the same subject called Shikara. Why did BJP and RSS object to that movie? That was also on the same topic. And you create a narrative through this movie that every Muslim
Here is the difference. Here is the difference, Riju Datta. At that time also, and I'll own it here, Mr. Vidhu Vinod Chopra was with me in the studios of CNN News 18. There were a huge group of Kashmiri Pandits who came from the Jagti camp. We had not seen the movie, and when we saw the movie and after that we realized that the whole narrative steered clear of the brutality, talked of the suffering at the Jagti camp, and then they only blamed Pakistan for what happened. There was no blaming of the local Kashmiri Muslim who looked the other way or who participated in this, who enjoyed it, who also usurped the lands, There was a certain justification that Kashmiri Pandits got 500 rupees pension or their monthly salaries and their pension. They forgot the fact that they gave up their lands, the homes that they had built, the fact that they were brutalized and they were branded as informers just for standing with the tricolour. That is why it was rejected. That movie was rejected by the masses, not just the political class. It was rejected by the masses. Amit Raina, correct me if I'm wrong.
No, I was also with you. We had not seen the movie. The point is, I don't know why a certain section of political parties is hell-bent on saying this is BJP movie. Let me tell each one of you, BJP has got nothing to do with this movie. This is an effort of a gentleman called Vivek Agnihotri, and he was pursued and persuaded by the community to please make a movie on our suffering. He researched about it. He was moved and he made that movie. BJP has nothing to do with this. This is a story of our suffering. This is a story of our genocide. Please treat it as that only. Do not use it to do politics and score political brownies. No, our pain is not for your politics. Our genocide is not for your politics. If you want to do politics on that. I will be the first party to get you justice. I give you a deadline that you will get justice by this date. If you want to do politics on getting justice to the community which has been in exile for 32 years.